Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, November 13th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect mostly cloudy skies and a high of 81 degrees in San Antonio today. You can expect Saturday to be slightly warmer before high temperatures drop back into the 70s on Sunday. A state appeals court on Thursday temporarily put a stop to an El Paso County judge's extension of its shutdown order through December 1st. The 2-week shutdown order, which was first issued at the end of October, had required non-essential businesses to close and residents to stay home except for essential activities until December 1st. The San Antonio Water Systems offices and payment centers will be closed today for a data systems update, according to the company. The online customer payment system will also be unavailable, but emergency systems will continue running. And now let's move on to our top stories for the day. Starting a business during the coronavirus pandemic, which is ravaging the economy, throwing employees out of work, and disrupting industries, may seem crazy. But plenty of people are striking out on their own, even as hordes of businesses fold permanently. Census data shows business applications for employee identification numbers have risen in recent months, totaling more than 3.2 million over the first 3 quarters, compared to about 2.6 million during the same period last year. That includes independent contractors and gig economy workers. The COVID-19 recession may be one of the biggest motivators pushing more people to take their working lives into their own hands. The San Antonio Express News talked to local entrepreneurs about why they're starting businesses during the pandemic. When a federal judge ordered Boogaloo Boy held without bail Thursday on a charge of illegally possessing a firearm, citing his failure to appear in court for an unrelated offense and an attitude of lack of respect for authority, Cameron Emerson Casey Rankin reacted with an outburst. The 21-year-old is charged with having a semi-automatic rifle despite his previous commitment to a mental institution. FBI agents arrested Rankin on October 28th after they searched his Northside apartment and found the rifle. According to a criminal complaint filed in federal court, he was committed to a mental institution in 2008 when he was 9 years old. It came after a tumultuous period for Rankin, who was displaced from his home in Louisiana by Hurricane Katrina and evacuated to San Antonio in 2005 when he was 6 years old. Read more about the Boogaloo Boys, Rankin, and his case at expressnews.com. The family of convicted felon Brian Alfaro apparently had a handy template in preparing marketing materials to pitch investors on buying interests in a company that would breed exotic wildlife in South Texas. The Alfaros used materials that were originally designed to solicit investments in oil and gas development programs, according to the Texas State Securities Board in a cease and desist order it issued against the Alfaros and Arca Wildlife Development and Conservation LLC. On Tuesday, Alfaro was sentenced to 121 months in federal prison. After his conviction and while in home confinement pending his sentencing, Alfaro and his wife Christy allegedly began perpetrating a new security scheme with Arca Wildlife, according to the Securities Board. You can read more about the allegation in Dan Patrick's latest story. Gina Ortiz-Jones spent 3.5 years running for Congress, Gilbert Garcia writes. After Will Hurd decided not to seek another term, Jones looked like a prohibitive favorite to flip this perpetual swing district from the Republicans to the Democratic column. But when the votes were counted last week in this sprawling 29-county district, which stretches from San Antonio to the edge of El Paso, the Republican candidate, former Navy cryptologist Tony Gonzalez, emerged with a decisive win. On a deeply disappointing night for Texas Democrats, District 23 had to be the cruelest failure, Garcia writes. You can read his full column for a breakdown of how it happened at expressnews.com. Be sure to check out our interactive map with coronavirus testing sites that don't require a doctor's referral. You can find the site closest to you by entering your address, selecting a circle to find out more about a location, including if it's appointment only and if it has drive-through testing. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside your Express News subscription. Hospitalizations in San Antonio have increased steadily since the start of November, when 227 patients were being treated for the virus here. Thursday, officials reported that 353 COVID-19 patients were in hospitals here, including 61 transferred from El Paso. The San Antonio Express-News is moving out of the historic building it has called home for more than 90 years and into new modern offices at the former San Antonio Light newspaper building a block away. In a tweet, Texas Governor Greg Abbott said a COVID-19 vaccine should arrive later this month. Health organizers, however, estimate distribution won't be widely available until mid-2021 at the earliest. We have a list of what we know about a vaccine timeline at expressnews.com. Are you planning a Thanksgiving celebration? An interactive dashboard underlines the risk of gathering with people outside of your household in San Antonio. A mosquito sample pool southwest of downtown San Antonio tested positive for the West Nile virus last month, according to the city's Metropolitan Health District. Mitch Johnson, who completed his first season on the Spurs bench last season, has been promoted to fill Tim Duncan's spot on Greg Popovich's staff. San Antonio area hotels filled more rooms over the summer, at least compared to the hospitality industry's disastrous spring, but they still hemorrhaged revenue because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some members of the city council said they would support withdrawal from a lease agreement for Alamo Plaza based on a decision by the state to prevent the relocation of the cenotaph and a loss in fundraising support for a museum and visitor center. In a few years, residents might be able to pay their bills, report potholes, rent out a park, and even find tacos through one app on their phones. That's the goal for the One City app for San Antonio, which is in the early stages of development. Come January, the city will be lobbying state lawmakers for legislation promoting police reform, public health investments, and more local control. Thursday, the San Antonio City Council approved its agenda for the 87th state legislative session. Texas lawmakers set a record with over 60 marijuana-related bills in 2019. This year, they've already introduced 11 measures that could potentially loosen the legal restrictions on the drug, with 2 months to go before the legislative session begins in January. In the face of news that Texas now leads the nation in number of COVID-19 cases, more than 1 million, Governor Greg Abbott has maintained a mystifyingly low profile, the Express News editorial board writes. You can read the full opinion at expressnews.com. When the McCollum Cowboys take the field on Friday at Seguin, it's believed they will be the last team in Texas to start their season. That doesn't include teams that canceled their season. Friday's game is one of 4 scheduled for the Cowboys in 2020. As they know all too well, those games aren't guaranteed. At this point, it's not about making the playoffs, it's about just playing football. It's been an unusual and very strange year, Coach Carl Clan said. Hopefully, we don't have any more canceled games, but you just have to deal with that when it comes. David Hinojosa explains how the McCollum football program got here and how the coronavirus cases have rankled District 12-5A1. Three new San Antonio restaurants, Camp Outpost, Cushy Cocina Mexicana, and Kumo, bring special food like insects to San Antonio. It's hard to keep a restaurant going under the best of circumstances, but for these 3 successful operators in San Antonio, mere survival wasn't enough. Only a few weeks old, those brave new concepts each bring something special to the San Antonio table. San Antonio champ Mario Barrios is ready to move up and challenge the big boys in the 140-pound super lightweight division. Calvin Finch has your guide to planting cyclamen now for amazing winter color, while Neil Sperry answers readers' questions about Amaris bulbs and more in his down-to-earth column. Suds will soon flow in a building that used to house hiking boots. Pachernik Cerveceria, a new brewery and restaurant, is currently under development in the former home of Pachernik Sporting Goods along the Riverwalk. And that's all for today. This was your Express briefing for Friday, November 13th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful Friday the 13th, everyone.